years ago, Mojang released a guide on how to build a medieval fortress in Minecraft. This book shows you how to build houses, a castle, walls, and so much more. But how well does it hold up to today's standards? Well, that's what I'm about to find out. Okay, so the first thing that the book wants me to do is to mark the four corners of my build by making turrets. Luckily, I already have an area cleared out, so it shouldn't be that hard to make. So to start, I'm gonna make a 7x7 square and have slabs on all the edges, and make a 12 block tall outline, fill the outline in with stone, and they want you to make the windows like this, which I thought is actually kind of interesting. Now I'm gonna make the top of it, which has some stairs like this, with some fences in the middle. Now I go up a block and add some of these. So that is the outside of it complete, but it still needs an interior. And it's actually really simple because it's just a ladder and some spruce planks to separate it. Now I just need to make 4 of these. Also, this didn't really take 30 minutes, it took more like 5. Okay, so after a little bit of work, I got all of the towers placed in, and this is actually really big. Okay, so this is the center here, and they want me to start by making a 22 by 11 block stone square, and then go up 8 blocks, and fill all of this in. And for the top half of it, I actually have to go up another 8 blocks, and then fill all of this in. Actually, I have to go down 2 blocks so that I can make where the floor is gonna be. And then this is just gonna be a little wall on the roof. Now I'm gonna use some stone slabs for a little bit of detail. And now for the floor, just like that. Now it's time for these walls, and this one is just windows, so it shouldn't be that hard. So I was kind of confused on how they did the windows here, but it turns out that they're not actually windows, and instead they're 4 stairs, which looks like this. Okay, so they want you to make these little pillars in the front here, and also a giant door in the middle. Okay, so it's actually almost done. Now I just need to add the door here. The final step to this is to add 2 towers off to the side here, so this build actually looks really good, considering that it was made all the way back in 2016. Anyway, now it's time to make the walls. And it's actually really simple because it's just this repeated about 100 times. Okay, so now I have a massive blank area where I'm going to build all of the builds. And the first one is actually a modification to this, and it should make it so that I can actually open and close. Okay, so after a really long time, but still not 2 hours, I finally got this working. Anyway, it's actually pretty cool how this thing works, because you flip this lever, and then the top goes down, and then you flip it again, and then the top goes back up. Okay, so this is the first official test in the actual build, and it actually works. Okay, so now that all the walls are in, it's time to make what is probably going to be the hardest build of this video, and that's the castle keep. So I'm going to make it in the very center here where that diamond block is. Okay, so the outline actually all goes up 14 blocks. And the corners actually go up a little bit higher, but I'm just going to wait to do those. I'm going to start with the entrance, and it actually has a ton of detail. So apparently this is going to be an intermediate build, which somehow means that it's easier than all of that. And looking at it already, it just does not look that much easier. Anyway, now I'm going to make some designs on the walls. It's kind of like a checkerboard pattern where it goes all over it, and there's even some stairs mixed in. Okay, so now I'm going to work on these 2 walls and also the back one, which I'm pretty sure are all the exact same. Now I'm going to make this design on both sides. Now that I have some lines of stone on there, I have to put some windows. Now it is on the other side and the back too. So now I have to make 4 of the towers on the back here, and after that it'll almost be done. And I'm going to start by building this up 15 blocks. So that's what it looks like all built up. Now I just need to add some details on the sides. Okay, so now the last thing to do is just to add the roof on this tower. And there we go. Okay, now I just need to make that 3 more times. Okay, so there is the 4 sides done, so now it's time to work on the top. And first I have to fill all of this in. There's actually these little stone designs on here that are pretty hard to make out because it's stone mixed with stone bricks, and I think I did actually get it pretty good. So the last thing I'm going to do on the exterior of the build is make this little elevated stone area in the middle here, and this is the shape of it. Now I just need to fill this in with spruce planks. Okay, so for the second to last detail, I'm going to make a smaller tower in the middle here. Also, this was done wrong, so I redid it. Okay, so this is one of the towers, and I just need to make it 3 more times. Just like that, and now I just need to fill this part in. And finally, just fill in the roof. And for the final detail, I'm going to make some of those, which it turns out are actually called embrasures. And that is everything complete. at least on the outside. Yeah, I still have to do an interior. Luckily, at the top, they have this guide that shows you exactly where all of the rooms are going to be, so that should be pretty helpful when I'm building it. So that is the entire floor in, and now I'm just going to make the layout. So these are the entrances to the turrets. This is going to be a pantry, I guess. This one and this one are going to be guest quarters. This is going to be the library area. This is where even more guest bedrooms are going to be. And finally, this is the royal bedchamber. Anyway, now I have to decorate everything. First, I'm going to do the pantry. So these are cooking furnaces. We have some cauldrons in here, and this is where food is going to go. This is one of the guest quarters. It has a bed and a chest. In the middle, we have a dining area of some sort. I mean, I guess it's okay. Here is the library room, another bed area, I guess. Okay, now there's actually some stairs in the stairwell. And the last step is to just add carpets everywhere, just like that. Okay, so for the final build in the castle is the actual throne room itself. And what I'm gonna do is build that out here and then just copy paste it into there. So this is how big it's gonna be, and it's actually pretty small. I'm gonna start by making the entrance. So that is the front of it, and the sides are actually completely flat. Now that all the walls are done, it's time to make the actual throne. So right now I'm actually making where the throne is gonna sit. Add a little bit of carpet, some fences, whatever these things are, and finally the throne. And that is the throne room complete. And now the last step is just to connect everything up. And after a little bit of work, everything in the entire castle is done. So the next few builds that I'm going to be making from this book are the barracks, which is where soldiers are housed. It's going to end up being a pretty small build, but I'm going to be making a lot of them. So there is the front door and some windows. So this is actually the first build that has a front yard, and it's pretty much just a bunch of sand. Now we're supposed to put up a fence around and whatever these things are. I guess you can like shoot them or something. I don't know. I guess there's also a stable off to the side of it too. Now it's time for the second floor, which actually sticks out a block. And the second floor is made out of diorite. There's actually a balcony up here and it has a chest on it. So that is the outside of the build complete and the inside too. Okay, so I'm gonna do a time lapse where I'm gonna make some roads connecting all of the builds and also variations of this house. Alright, so this is actually starting to look pretty cool right now. And up next, we're actually going to be building an enchanting room, and I don't really know where to put it, so I'm just going to make it underneath the castle. So this is about how big the room is going to be, and it has a nether brick outline on the inside. Now I'm putting in the enchanting table. Now that that's in, I'm going to put a second floor in. And now you can actually go into it in the castle. So let's see what's next. And up next is actually the dungeon. But before I do that, I just wanted to tell you to subscribe because I want to reach 100,000 subscribers sometime in the future and anything will help. So this is what the first room looks like. And they actually want me to put redstone right here. I'm not sure what that's supposed to represent, but I thought this was a family-friendly game. Anyway, there's another room that is the exact same next to it. So now I'm working on the outer area here and they want me to put more, redstone down. Okay, yeah, and a skull. I think we can assume where that redstone came from. So this is some sort of a reception desk. And the last step is the stairs. All right, and it is now officially in the castle. Now it's time to make what's probably going to be the biggest part of this entire build, which is all of the houses. All right, so I think the first house is going to be built directly across from here, so let's get started. All right, so this is how big the first story of the house is going to be, and now I'm actually going to work on the inside. It has some furnaces and a crafting table right here, got a staircase right here, and some chests. Now I'm going to move up to the second floor, which has a floor made out of dark oak. So there are the outlines of it, and now I just need to fill everything in. So those are the walls entirely in place, and a balcony too. So to start on the inside, I'm going to put a railing around the stairs so you don't fall or something, along with some beds and a chest, and a jukebox. So to finish this build off, I'm going to be making the roof, which is actually a third floor. So it turns out the roof doesn't actually have the inverted stairs, which is a little bit annoying. Now I'm adding a window here to add a little bit of extra depth, just like that. Now that this is on the other side, I just need to fill everything in. And that is the first house complete. I'm gonna have to make so many of these. Okay, so the reason that this area is left blank is because this is where all of the other builds are going to go. and the first one is actually a town square. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be building the town square, and the first building is actually like some kind of a shop. So the first building actually has some upside down stairs like this on the inside, which I thought is actually a pretty interesting detail for walls. And this is where you enter it. Now I'm going to make the roof, which starts with a layer of slabs, some wool, which is definitely a lot darker in the book, another layer of slabs, and the final layer of wool. The inside is relatively simple because it just has spruce planks on the floor, and finally just some chests. So there's a couple more buildings, and the first one is a well. So I'm going to start with a little bit of grass, a couple of fences in the corners, and now the actual well. Now for the third building, which actually is a cake shop. So that is what the base looks like. Put some cakes and furnaces in there, and finally a roof. All right, now for the final building, which is just this. Whatever this is. Yeah, there it is. I'm gonna be honest, this looks kind of weird just sitting here, so... Oh yeah, it is all gone. There's no more snow. It actually feels a whole lot nicer just walking around here without having to step on snow all the time. Okay, so the next build in the book is the Traveler's Tavern, and it actually looks pretty similar to some of these buildings that I've already made, so I'm just gonna build it in a quick time lapse. Okay, so yeah, now that's done, and I'm not really sure how I feel about the design of the roof here. However, the inside is actually pretty good. Okay, so the final non-redstone build of this book is the cathedral, and this thing is gonna be massive. So big, in fact, that I actually had to move the town square all the way down to here. So to start, I'm gonna work on the interior floor of it, which is 18 by 25 blocks, which is about this size. Now I'm gonna make marks on the floor using spruce planks, which is where the walls and seats are gonna go. Okay, and the seats are gonna be made out of dark oak stairs. Just like that. Now I'm gonna start working on the thing in the middle. This thing even has anvils on it, which makes it pretty expensive. And now it's time to make the outer walls, and looking at the details on it, it could take a little while. I'm gonna start by going up 5 blocks and putting stairs in the middle, and putting upside down stairs in the middle, then some fences and torches. Now I'm gonna make another layer using chisel stone bricks and regular stone, and put some stairs on top of all of those, with slabs on the back of all of these. Then I'm gonna bring these down 4 blocks, and then also go out with stone bricks. Now I'm gonna make the back of the build, which is a giant stained glass piece of art, which looks like this. So for the entrance, I'm gonna start by going out 5 blocks this way, and turn it all into a roof. And then this is where the actual entrance is going to be. And now that the entire entrance is done, it means that it's time to do the roof. And since it's so big, I'm just going to do it in a time lapse. Alright, so now that the cathedral is done, it's time to add all of the small details to the city that will make it feel more alive. For example, we could have a notice board, or some carts. We can make a storage hold, you have a well, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, now it's time to make traps. Alright, and the first one is actually a pitfall trap. Oh, I missed it. And the first one is a pitfall trap. Pretty cool. Alright, and the second trap is an arrow trap. So let's see how this thing goes. That's a lot of air. I'm not even getting hit. And there we go. I'm not even joking when I say this, but this thing took 743 arrows to kill me without armor. Okay, it's all done, and there's just no way that this thing isn't gonna explode when I fire it. So I have the redstone block here, and it is firing out all of the arrows onto the slime. Okay, that should be enough, and once I push this button, it'll activate this TNT, and it should launch the arrows up into the air. And it should launch the TNT up into the air, but I don't really trust that. Oh, that thing was actually surprisingly good. As you may or may not know, I like to end some of my videos with an explosion. And this one is no different. So thanks for watching to the end of this video, and I'll see you all next time.